cheers. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Trades Lady Happy Hour. I am Bogey and I am your host for Trades Lady Happy Hour, but more important are all of the amazing women that I get to meet with and introduce you all to every week. I've been doing this series for about a year and a half, a little over, and have had the immense pleasure of meeting some incredible women and getting to hear more about their stories and their journeys and share those stories with you guys as well at home. So I appreciate all of you who are back to get some more for continuing to tune in over these this last year and a half. For those of you who are new, welcome. This is an hour once a week dedicated to sharing the stories and shining a light on all of the amazing women who are kicking butt in the automotive industry, in the industrial trades, women who are just dominating it in very traditionally male-dominated fields. They don't get a light shown on them nearly often enough. So this is my way of shining a little bit of a light on them in as best a way that I can. So I thank you guys for tuning in and for sending me all of the messages that you do, saying that you enjoy these happy hours, and that makes my heart so happy because I love doing them, and I'm so glad you guys enjoy them too and keep coming back for more. So big thank you to our sponsor, Drive Time, for helping support this and keep it going, and for just sharing their commitment for promoting women in the trades through this. So thanks to them and thanks to you guys. And without further ado, it is time to introduce this week's guest. So this week I get to meet a woman who I've not met before. Her name is Genevieve Swisher, and she is a restoration technician. She's done collision training as well as restoration training. She's doing some little bit different right now. She's not doing restoration work right now because she is literally about to have a baby. And I'm so stoked that she has agreed to do happy hour with me. I think she's due like in 2 weeks, maybe, if that. But anyway, I'm super excited to talk to her, to meet her, hear about her journey, hear about how she's balancing this whole being pregnant and being in this kind of career path. And so there's a lot to talk about. I hope you guys stay tuned and hang out with me for the hour, and let's get Genevieve on. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm looking at the comments. Everybody's like, woo, Genevieve. Everybody's really excited. Thanks so much for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was looking on your social media and I saw that it was June 4th is your due date.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right around the corner.
Are you like totally dying right now? Or are you good?
Kind of. I am. Not much longer, so hopefully she decides to come soon.
Oh, it's gonna be a little girl?
Yeah.
Oh yay.
Yeah. We're
bringing up some more badass women.
Oh heck yeah.
Awesome. And this is your first baby, right?
Yep.
Oh, this is so exciting. I love it. Okay, we're not going to talk babies the whole time, I promise. But I do want to talk about it at some point. I want to talk about how that's like affected your career and decisions that you've been making. But we'll dig into that as we get a little further.
Yeah.
For now, would you tell the fine folks at home what your name is, where you're from, and what you do?
So my name is Genevieve. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I live in Hagerstown, Maryland now, and the way I ended up here is I went to Pennsylvania College of Technology for collision repair and restoration, and that's where I met my husband. So, and he's originally from Maryland, so yeah.
Okay. Very awesome. So I know there's like the jokes, right? And I'm sure you've heard them that like, I heard it when I was in tech school that people were like, oh, are you just here to meet a man? No, I was there to learn a trade. So you got both.
Yeah, I did. I lucked out.
I love it. So let's go back in time a little bit and tell me how this whole journey really got started for you. Did you grow up around cars? Was this something that was part of your family and your blood?
Honestly, not really, no. So, I always wanted to go to a technical high school, and my freshman year I wasn't accepted, but then my sophomore year I was, and there was only like a limited amount of like classes, like shops that were open, and I was between automotive and collision, and the guidance counselor was like, hey, I think you should try collision. I think you'd like it. And I just fell in love with it.
Nice.
Honestly.
What made you want to go to a technical high school in the first place?
I just wanted to do stuff with my hands. I always knew I was like that. Like, I don't know. I just get bored sitting in a classroom, honestly.
Okay, so you knew when you were young, like, this is not, I'm not meant for a traditional classroom vote. Okay. Was your family supportive of you going to the technical high school?
Yeah, they were. I was pretty lucky. And so, yeah. My sister actually ended up going there too, and she's a Mason.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so.
That's super cool. Is your family in trades or?
Kind of. Like my dad, he was always a house painter, so I think that's where I kind of get it from. But, yeah. But I paint cars, not houses.
I mean, it's kind of the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, and yet not at all, right? I think that's so incredible. Like, we didn't have technical high schools where I grew up.
Really?
I can't imagine knowing at that age and having that opportunity available to me. It's pretty freaking amazing.
It really is. I think they need to do more schools like that, personally.
Yeah. How was the school set? Was it a totally separate school, or was it a program within?
Yeah.
Or
it was a completely, in Massachusetts, so when I started there, it was North Shore Tech, and then my senior year it combined, and I think it's actually one of 3 schools in the U.S. that's, because it's also agricultural now too. So they have over 24 shops that students can choose from.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So do you still have to do like a traditional high school curriculum as well, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so when I was a sophomore and junior, we did a week of shop, and then we would do a week of academics. So it would switch back and forth.
Interesting. Well, at least that keeps it like always something different.
Yeah, and you could actually get stuff done too, which was kind of nice.
Right? My cat is howling in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I swear this cat acts like she's dying at every chance. She's walking around with her toy like it's a thing.
Wants you to play.
I don't know what's wrong with her. Sorry if you guys can hear that. It's my crazy cats. I've become the cat lady. This is not
Riley was telling me about all the cats.
You have cats as well?
No, I said Riley said
yes.
About the cats.
Yes. I saw you have goats?
Yeah, I have 4.
Oh my gosh. Goats are so amazing. Are they like really as bad though as everybody says, where they'll like eat everything?
Yeah, they do. They love shoelaces, hair, everything. It's
Lovely. I had a friend who told me that she had goats at a farm that she used to live at and work at, and they would eat tires off of cars that were like.
Mine don't do that, luckily.
That's awesome. Like
they'll jump on cars though.
That's awesome. Okay, so this technical school, I'm so fascinated by it, and I'm fascinated by like you knowing so young that this was what you wanted. Did you ever question your path? I mean, you were a baby when you chose this path.
Honestly, once I got into it, I loved it, and I was like, this is what I want to do.
That's amazing.
And in high school, I remember the guidance counselor, like, when they ask you if you want to go to college and all this, I was like, yeah, I do, but I want to go for collision repair. Like, that's all I want to do. So, and then I found a school that offered it.
Did anybody kind of resist against that? Was there any pushback in your life?
Not really, honestly.
That's awesome.
I had pretty supportive people. Awesome. Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm lucky.
No, that makes me so happy to hear. It's such a mixed bag, and I feel like back, the generation before me was like all the pushback. My generation was like still kind of a lot of pushback, but like little bits of support. And now I feel like I talk to women in your age range where it's like 50% of them had kind of crappy situations, and then 50% are like you, where it was like, yeah, it was good. Everyone was supportive. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to hear. It's very encouraging. But you said that you had some challenges getting your first job out of high school and out of that program, right?
Yeah, I tried to like work during the summer before I went to school and stuff, and must have applied to over like 10 shops, never heard. I guess it's just, I don't know if it was just because I was straight out of high school or what, but yeah.
Yeah. They would just never respond.
No, yeah. Which, yeah. I feel like now I probably won't have issues with that, but I guess because I was, I don't know, maybe so young, or being from up there, it's not as common, I guess, for women to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the triple-edged sword, right? Or whatever it is. It's right. You're young, you're inexperienced, and you're female on top of it. It's just like, it makes it that much harder.
Yeah.
But interesting. So you weren't able to get a job out of high school. You decided at that point to continue to go to college in collision, or was that because you couldn't get a job?
No, I just kind of wanted to go because I kind of wanted to get away from home, kind of wanted to experience something else, and I figured, because I want to eventually teach, like that's like always what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach collision repair to students.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I figured, I don't know, maybe go to school. Hopefully that will help me get my foot in the door someday.
That makes sense. And the college that you went to, we've heard a little bit about it on Happy Hour from Riley, because you guys went to the same school, right? That's how you.
Yep.
Okay, so if anybody's watching, Riley is a friend of hers who is how I know about Genevieve. But we did a happy hour with her a couple of weeks ago, and you can check that out on my IGTV tab as well. And they went to college together. So tell me a little bit about the program.
So they offer obviously like different stuff, but they're one of the fewer schools obviously that offer restoration and collision repair as a degree. So I went there for 2 years for collision repair, and we took you have to also take academics in order to get an associate's degree.
Okay.
So I had to take welding, like painting classes, bodywork, structural, non-structural, all that stuff. And a machining class, but yeah, and then you have the option there, well, at least you used to, I think they might have changed the curriculum, to add a year of restoration instead of having to do 2 years.
Of strictly collision?
Yeah.
Okay. So you did a year of collision and a year of restoration?
I did 2 years of collision and 1 year of restoration, sorry.
1 year of restoration.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, very cool. That's an intense program, it sounds like.
Yeah.
How big of a program was it? Like, how many kids were in your class with you?
I want to say it was like a little less than 25.
Oh, so it's little.
Mm-hmm.
And were you in the actual same class as Riley?
No, she was I think 2 years behind me.
Okay.
I would say. Yeah, I met her because I was an RA in college, and I volunteered to house prospective students.
Oh, nice.
One weekend, and that's how I met her.
Oh, okay, very cool. So
yeah.
were there any other women in your program when you were there?
Yeah, actually, there were 3 other girls.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I need to move out where you guys are. That's amazing. This is not everybody's experience. I hope you know how fortunate you are to have had those opportunities. That sounds so amazing. How about in high school? Were you the only woman there, or were there lots of women in...
Nope, there was 3 other girls as well.
Phenomenal.
And then by the time we graduated, there was just 3 of us that graduated that were girls.
Okay. That's still not bad at all.
Mm-mm.
That would be awesome. You didn't have to be the only.
Nope.
Has it been similar through your work experience since then, or are you now the only where you're at?
I was the only girl at the restoration shop I was working at. There was another girl who was there for a little bit, but she wasn't there that long, so yeah. But everyone I've worked with, they've always been super cool. They didn't care that I was a girl.
That's awesome.
I was kind of lucky, to be honest.
No,
some people have difficulties with that.
Do you feel like there's anything like in how you present yourself or in how you come into a space that may be attributed to how people were responsive to you?
I think so, because a lot of the times, like even in like college and stuff, like the guys have always referred to me as like one of the guys, like, you know, even though I'm a girl, but
Yeah.
I've always just kind of gone along with guys, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it or what.
Never know. I'm always just curious to see kind of if you have an inkling or an idea of why maybe you've had a smoother path than some do. Because I think sometimes it's luck of the draw, right? And then
Yeah.
sometimes it's how we bring ourselves into a space, right? If if we're irritating people or putting people off or making a scene or whatever, versus if we just show up and we're doing our job and we're kicking ass and being cool.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And not taking shit from
So
them. No,
was getting a job. What's that?
I said and not taking any shit from them. They respect
And
that.
not,
So if you put it down.
absolutely. Absolutely. Although I don't know about you, have you found that like guys generally are much better at giving shit than taking shit? And this is when she freezes, of course.
Sorry.
You're frozen. That's all right. That was a perfect freeze point. Did you hear what I said?
No, sorry.
Oh, I feel like guys are much better at giving shit than taking shit. Like they'll give shit and talk shit all day long,
yeah.
but you turn around and give it back to them, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, 100%. And they get all offended. I'm like, all right. I thought we were supposed to be the emotional ones, but.
Yeah, no, they have no idea. So you graduate from college, and how did it work finding your first job? Where did you, and were you in multiple places before now, or are you at the same place?
No, I was at the same place. So, a kid I went to school with, his dad actually owned like he was part owner of the restoration shop that I worked at. So that's how I found out about it. So I applied and got the job, and
Nice.
I was there ever since.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You've had such smooth sailing. I love it. I'm sure, like, obviously you put a ton of work in to make all of that happen, and knowing clearly what you wanted from the time you were so young is definitely something to do with it. But that's this makes me so happy to hear. You have no idea, like, that you've had such positive experiences. This is rare. All right, so how did things go with your first job? What was how did you start out? What was the position like? How have you worked your way up? Like, tell me about the job when you first started out.
So, my boss at the time, I told him, like, I really just like body work and paint work, but like, I'll learn other stuff too. So he put me in like the body work side of it. Not gonna lie, I did a lot of shit work at first. I mean, everyone kind of does.
Yeah.
And I mean, even up until I was working, sometimes I did have to do some of that. Sometimes I had to go out and sandblast stuff, or, you know, which no one really likes to do. At least I don't, you know.
In small batches, it's really satisfying. Like, I
But
really
not
like
when you have to do like.
Right. No, I don't want to do a ton of it.
Mm-mm.
But like when you're doing little stuff and you're like, look, I made it pretty and clean. It's really satisfying.
Yeah, when you're doing like whole car bodies, it's like, oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're disgusting, but that's okay though. I like to get dirty.
Well, we all have to pay our dues, right?
Yeah.
I did plenty of crap work when I was starting out.
But yeah.
So then how did that proceed from there?
And then I just basically was doing body work and painting, right, actually, since I started.
Wow.
And then there was another guy in the shop for a little while, and then he left. So then I was at one point the only painter and body tech. So
nice.
yeah.
And how many years into your career at that point were you?
I think 2.5.
That's amazing.
3. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Very good. How large of a shop is it?
It's actually pretty fairly small. There was only, I think, 11 of us in total, including like the office and my boss.
Okay. That's a nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with them and visit, so.
So you're not with them, you're not there anymore? You're not there anymore.
No, yeah. I figured since I found out I was pregnant, I was like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea that I'm painting. Like, it's not
Yeah.
safe.
I feel like that's a struggle that a lot of women in collision and restoration kind of struggle with is like, how can you, what does that look like? What do you do? And so I feel like a lot of folks are probably going to be very interested to hear kind of your take on stuff and why you made the decisions you did and how you're handling it.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like my husband and I, we knew we wanted to have a kid and stuff. And we had waited, we waited a little while because I wasn't really ready and I still wanted to work in the shop and stuff. So, but once I did, I was there for about 3 months pregnant and it was hard. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I
Because
bet.
I was really sick and it takes a lot out of you just in general. And then trying to create a human, like your
Yeah.
body's just exhausted.
Yeah. It's exhausting work to begin with. Making a human is exhausting work to begin with. Yeah.
And then put those together.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some women work like turning wrenches until they're like 7, 8 months pregnant. I'm like, I do not know. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that either.
No, all the more like power to them and props to them, but like I don't think I could do that. So you were there for 3 months into the pregnancy, and then so did you take a leave from them, or have you left them entirely?
I left them entirely, but they have always like told me like, hey, if you ever want to come back, you're more than welcome to, or so. And I'm really close with a lot of the guys there because I was there for a really long time, and the shop's small, so they're like a family. So
Was it a hard decision to make?
oh, it was so hard. And my boss, I felt so bad. I was like, I really don't want to leave, but it's just too much right now. And I had a little bit of a drive. It wasn't that bad, but the job that I'm working at now is only like 10 minutes from my house, so it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. Did you find yourself questioning like whether to like make the decision to start a family given your career? Did you put it off?
Oh,
Did you
yeah,
feel like
100%. Yeah, because that's like the whole thing. I was always like, how am I going to do this? Because obviously you can't really paint or do body work while being pregnant because even if you're wearing a mask, your skin can absorb all of those chemicals and stuff, which is just not a good idea, I don't think, personally.
yeah, yeah. That's got to be challenging. I feel like that's the thing that we as women kind of struggle with in ways that men don't necessarily understand.
Yeah.
Like, I love my career, but I would also like to have a family.
Balance.
How do
Yeah.
I balance that out? Yeah. So you're still in the industry now. You've just taken a different position that doesn't expose you to body filler and chemicals and all of the rest of it for a little while. So what are
Yeah.
you doing? What are you doing now?
I'm working at Toyota, so I'm a body shop estimator.
Okay.
So basically, like, people come in and I write estimates and do like payroll and scheduling and all that stuff. It's
Wow.
not bad. I've learned a lot, but
I'm sure.
yeah.
Probably all valuable stuff to know. Tell me about how that transition has been for you going from being out in the shop to being the one writing stuff up.
Not gonna lie, it's kind of hard because it's like you give the work orders to the like employees and stuff, and you're like, man, like I kind of wish I was doing it, but no, I
Yeah.
don't know. I do miss it, definitely.
Does anybody ever try to pull anything over on you thinking you don't know what you're talking about?
No, honestly, not really. It's just like dealing with customers because I'm not used to that really because I'm
Okay.
always in like, in the shop, like in the booth or something.
Right.
So like I didn't realize how crazy some people could be. And man, yeah, they're a handful.
Everybody always thinks that the service advisors have the easy job and that the technicians want like busting their butt. I'm like, it's just different. They're both really hard.
I know. I feel bad for them now.
So do you think that you'll stay with it for a little while, or do you think you'll go back to doing restoration?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think for right now, I'm going to stay with it and then kind of see. I'm definitely not done painting or doing body work, so I know I'll definitely do it in some aspect. So whether it's getting a job, doing that in a shop, or just doing it on the side for people.
That's fair. And fair to not see it. Who knows what might happen. But the Toyota dealer is a dealership, or
Yeah.
they're treating you good?
Oh yeah. Everyone's so nice there.
That's very cool. And you've been there for how long? Well, I guess what?
November. So not too long. Yeah.
Right. I was doing the math of how pregnant you are when you quit, and that was too much math for my little brain. That's awesome. All right, very cool. So I'm interested to talk about a little bit about like collision versus restoration, right? Because you have
Oh yeah.
gone to school for both. You've worked in restoration. Now you're working on the collision side, doing estimating. So you're seeing that other side of things. I feel like there's a lot of just kind of lack of understanding or awareness around the extreme differences between collision and restoration. Can you talk a little bit about that and what your experience has been between the two?
Yeah.
Are you freezing again? Don't freeze. Everybody's been
Sorry.
freezing so much recently. You're back?
Yeah, there is definitely a huge difference between restoration and collision. I mean, for example, like in the collision field, most of the time I'm not going to say that they don't do body work, but they usually replace parts. You're not really, and you have a set time on how long it should take to do this, a rule book and stuff. But with restoration, that is not the case. You cannot judge how long it's going to take to straighten out, let's say, like a fender or something. You just kind of have to roll with it because every piece is different, and at least at the shop I was working at, those projects were there for years at a time. We were bouncing back and forth between projects and stuff. And I feel like, I'm not saying it's more of an art to do restoration because collision repair, like obviously there's an art to that too. Painting's just an art in general. But I feel like there's more attention to detail with restoration. Like every detail counts.
Yeah.
And
Are there any like big differences in techniques of things that you've noticed in your experience? Like I feel like one of the things that I run into on the all female builds, right, is that like a woman will come out and be like, this is how you do this. You hear her yelling. Do you hear that?
yeah, I do. I was like,
that's not me. That's crazy, go away. um, um we'll get like, one or two women will come in and say, this is how this is done. And then the next group of women come in and they're like, no, that's not how you do it. Why would you do it that way? And then the next group of women comes in, well, why did you do it either of those ways, right? And a lot of the difference, I think, has often come down in my experience to like collision versus restoration and like totally different approaches to how to fix a panel that's bad or how to do body filler work or prep things for paint. Are there things that like really stand out to you as far as like, oh, that would fly in collision but would never fly in restoration, or vice versa?
Yeah, I guess obviously prepping panels is like completely different, even like products that you're using. Like for us in I don't know how it is over in Arizona, but in West Virginia, we're still allowed to spray with solvent base, so that's what my shop used. And here in Maryland, like in the in the production side of things, like they spray with just waterborne. So
is that the state requirement or is that just preference of the shop?
yeah, the state. I think West Virginia in our area is the only state that allows you to spray solvent still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Phoenix,
Everyone else is. Oh, you are?
yeah, at least I think so, unless something's changed. I hope so. Yeah.
I won't tell.
Last time I checked, what anything else strike you as far as differences between them? Not between water and solvent.
Well, like for example, I know like the different types of materials just in general, because in the production shop, you want to use like fast curing products. But on the restoration side, we tend to use slower curing products, like, because I know there's some clears out there that will dry like that, you know, and they have a bake cycle. At the shop I was at, we didn't have a bake cycle, so it just stayed in the booth for like 2 days, you know. So that was our bake cycle.
Fair enough. Has it been? You're frozen again. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, you're back. You're back. You're freezing up like crazy. I don't know if it's on my end or your end, but has it been?
Know.
How has it been switching for you? I mean, you're switching not just from being. Are you there? Okay, you're there. You're not just switching from being the doer to being the estimator, but you're switching from restoration to collision. Like, how has that adjustment process been? Like, you've got 2 layers of adjustment. I don't know.
I mean, it has been difficult, especially writing estimates. Oh, sorry. Did I cut out?
Oh, okay. No, you're
good. It has definitely been different because with writing estimates, like when you're repairing like a fender and stuff, your judgment, so like how many hours is this going to take the tech to write, you know? Sometimes I'm like way like under, or, oh, you know what I mean? Sometimes like stuff like that can be a problem because I'm like, I'm not really used to doing it like this, you know?
Yeah.
But
at your restoration shop, did you charge hourly? Do you know if the shop was hourly or was it based on job?
Yeah, it was hourly.
Okay.
Yep.
So it was like how much it actually took to do the thing, not how much it should take to do the thing.
Yeah. Which is a huge difference between collision and restoration.
Yeah, because I assume on collision, and I will be the first to admit I don't know a ton about the inner workings on collision side. I'm assuming that there's a guidebook, much like there is on the mechanical side of things. Like, this is how long this should take you. And if it takes you longer, that sucks for you.
Yep, and then you don't get paid for it. Or if you're faster than the time allotted, you get paid for that. So that's how people make a lot of money off that.
Gotcha. When you were going to college and you were doing both collision and restoration, did you know for certain that restoration was where you wanted to go? And is there a reason why one versus the other?
Yeah, honestly, I think mainly because the attention to detail. Like, at first I really liked collision because, like, you know, you get to paint. Like, I really like painting. And, you know, painters, that's what they do all day long. They prep and paint. Yeah. But when I was at the restoration shop, I was doing more of, like, doing body work all the way up until paint. So I did all of that. And then after I painted it, you know, let it cured, sanded it. Well, yeah, we had stages. Like, we always did 2 coats of clear, sanded it with 800, and then 2 more coats of clear, and then sanded it all the way up to 3,000 and polished it out. Yeah.
Okay. I've not heard of that. I mean, I'm still new to this whole game. I've only been doing any sort of body or paint or anything for like 4 years at this point, and in minimal capacity. Ask me mechanical stuff and I'm good.
Yeah, see, that's not my strong suit.
Right. We always did. So on the SEMA cars, we do 6 coats of clear and then start at 600 up to 3,000. But I've not heard of doing 2 and then sand and then 2 more. That's interesting. Does it get a flatter, like a straighter finish from that? Like less?
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful once it's done. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's worth the end result.
So were you cut and clear again after the second 2 coats?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Let me tell you, yeah, I did a lot of sanding and polishing. But like once you see those results, you're like, wow, I can make it look that much better, you know? It's crazy.
And that's like not even a thing in collision, right? Like
no.
It's match the factory order. Right?
Yeah, maybe sand a dirt nib out. That's about it.
Interesting. Tell me about some of the projects that you worked on, because I hear rumors that you've worked on some pretty awesome projects at the resto shop.
Yeah. So obviously, I think you've heard about the Cobra that was at the shop. I
A little bit.
unfortunately.
The fine folks at home have not, so tell away.
Yes, so the shop that I was working at, they already had it pretty much. It was already in primer when I started working there, a 1963 Cobra, a real original, and it was painted while I was there. I was not the painter because I was way too new to do that and probably would have royally messed that up. Um, and yeah, it was a long. I think it took a long time for them to restore that, but I did paint a few parts on there. I mean, they're really like little things like a grease gun, the trunk, like, but it's still fun. At least I got to be around it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And any other notable fun projects that you got to work on?
Oh my gosh, I think one of my favorites that I worked on was a 1931 Pierce Arrow. Yeah, it was pretty
That's
sweet.
awesome.
It didn't come in for a whole restoration, but back where the rumble lid was, the paint was lifting. So I repaired the area all around there and painted that. And that was fun. That was a really cool car, I'm not gonna lie. They said that they think it belonged to like a I probably shouldn't even say that, like a mob person or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think they traced it back to something like that, but they're pretty rare. I think there's only like one out of that was 1 out of 9
Yeah,
ever built, or maybe 7.
not very common. For
No.
sure. So did you do were you doing like Amelia Island type stuff as well? I know Riley does some of that kind of stuff. Were you doing high end like concourse builds?
Yep, the Cobra went there. I think that was, yeah, the Cobra. Some of the other vehicles they had, I never got to go on those trips, but yeah, a lot of them. I know. I wish I did. Maybe one day.
I mean, even being able to participate in an Amelia Island build, I think that's pretty freaking phenomenal, especially as early on in your career. I mean, you've got to be you're under 30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
you're
be
like
26.
yeah, like you're way under 30. Yeah, so at this point in your career to have done anything with that is just freaking phenomenal. It's very, very admirable.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
They do. That's one thing I like about restoration. Like, that stuff's not boring to look at every day, you know?
No, definitely not. Is there anything that you hate doing when it comes to restoration? Any like parts of the process that are just like not your thing?
Let me think, because there is some things I hate. Definitely sandblasting. I really don't like doing that. I don't mind it in the cabinet, but when you're outside, especially when it's hot out,
Oh,
yeah, that's not fun.
no.
I guess
Did you
I'd
have
probably,
like a shed, like a sandblast shed basically, or what did you have?
no, just do it outside.
Oh, so your sand's just going everywhere.
Yeah, well, lay the tarp down. We've tried to put like tents up, but yeah.
I'm not sure which is worse. I've seen places that build like a room, like a sandblast room that you can pull a whole vehicle into, but I'm like, I'm not sure which is worse. A hot, unclimate controlled room with sand like swirling around you, or out in the air. I'm not sure which. I haven't decided.
I know. I feel like that would definitely be so much easier, especially to reuse, like, because it'd be easier to like
Yeah.
sweep up and use again. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
would
no.
go through a ton of
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you have to keep refilling the tank. That's always fun.
Oh my gosh.
But
All right, so no sandblasting for you. Check. Got it. Any other things?
honestly, I think that's probably really it. I like doing everything else. Like, I like doing body work. Like, I love spreading filler. Like, it's just so relaxing. Sanding it's fun. A lot of people don't like to do that, but I love it personally.
The sanding.
I
mean,
don't
that's a
mind
good
it.
thing. That's how you know you found the right place.
Yeah.
I love it. So from the time that you were in school to the time that you like got out into the workforce, were there any things that kind of surprised you, or I don't know, just of interest that were maybe like different than you expected it to be, or like, you know, school versus reality, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I guess like going, like obviously like school can only teach you so much. Like until you like go out there and actually like do it for real, that's the only way you're gonna learn. And making mistakes, which I know people don't like to make mistakes, but honestly, that's the best way to learn because once you learn how to fix those mistakes, you'll learn not to make those mistakes. And
Yes.
trust me, I made a lot of those at first.
Just at first, I still make mistakes. I made one.
Yeah, no, I still do, trust me. Every painter will tell you, it doesn't matter how good you are, you'll eventually, at one point, you know, sometimes you just get a run. You can't avoid it sometimes.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
How do we help the next generation? How do we like help folks understand that? Like how did you get yourself to a place where you're okay with making mistakes and embracing that? Like I feel like mistakes are like, I don't know, I'm on a kick talking about mistakes because people don't talk about them. So I want to talk about them. So I want to talk about your mistakes, but I also want to like hear how you got yourself comfortable with making mistakes, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously nobody wants to make a mistake. It's shitty, you know, you feel crappy about it, you know. And sometimes you're like, God, now I gotta fix this. It's gonna take me forever, and which most of the time it does, depending on what it is. Like I royally have messed up before. Like I've mixed the wrong, let's say like reducer with the wrong paint or hardener,
Right.
which yeah, you can't do that. So you gotta start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't tell somebody that you made that mistake or own that mistake, you know, that could be potentially even worse. So it's just,
Yeah.
rather just own it.
Yeah.
And learn from it. Make sure you don't do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just last week had to strip fenders down back to bare metal because something happened with the epoxy mix, and
Oh no.
so that was fun.
Yeah, no, see, no one likes to have to, but as long as people learn.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I mean that's the goal, right? Don't
yeah.
make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, try not to at least.
I feel like there's so much fear around that. Like so many, especially younger people coming into the industry, like there's so much fear around making mistakes, and like, and maybe in other career paths, it's like less of a thing, right? Like if you're, I don't know, an accountant, it's maybe easier to avoid making mistakes. I don't know. But I feel like in this career path, it's just, it is part of it. It is the learning process, is making mistakes. Like that is just part of the deal. Making.
Yeah.
Are you willing to share some of your more like embarrassing mistakes?
I gotta think. I mean, the biggest one I definitely made was mixing paint wrong. Like I was so embarrassed about that.
Had you sprayed it already by the time you took
Yeah.
it out? So
yeah.
what happens? Did it just not dry, or?
Yeah, it didn't dry. I mean, then you have to restrip everything.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's not fun. But I'm trying to think of another one that memorable. Sorry. I mean, I make mistakes, but I'm trying to think like. Sorry.
What are some of the big ones? I don't know. I feel like
no.
it's good to like demystify it. I think folks at home need to hear that like we all F up.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, even something like with like restorations and stuff, there's a lot of cars are two-toned, you know, and a lot of the times it's in the, sorry, not the molding, but the why am I blanking on the word?
Because you're
like
about to have a baby.
Like the creases in the vehicle. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the two tones and stuff.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, like I remember one time I was taping up that, you know, with like pinstripe tape and stuff, and I totally was way off the line. I mean, I had to go back and fix that too. That was one thing I felt really shitty about.
After you saw it.
Yeah, and after I cleared it and took it off, I was like, oh shit. Great. Because, you know, when you get the sun gun over there and you're like, well, especially with colors like black and blue, like Model A, those are hard to kind of like, you know, see and stuff. So, yeah, that wasn't fun, but.
So was it a black and blue two-tone?
Hmm.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hard to differentiate between.
Oh yeah, especially like I guess the biggest mistake for painters and if you're doing like painting and stuff in general is burning through stuff. That is going to happen, especially when you first start out. I mean, I royally screwed up on that when I first started. It's easy to do, and if you're not watching your edge, that's how you'll make that mistake.
Yep.
And once you make that, you'll quickly realize like, oh, I can't really be holding it there that long, or
Yep.
make sure I'm spinning off the edge, not onto it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Everybody had me so freaked out. The first time I cut clear, they had me like so freaked out about burning through that I was like so ridiculously cautious. And then I wound up cutting the clear on almost the entirety of the first all-female build solo. Just the way schedules aligned, I wound up doing virtually the whole thing. And I'd never done it before, but everybody had me so freaked out. So I was so careful. And then towards the end, I started getting the hang of it. And I'm like, okay, like this isn't as scary as I thought. And then sure shit, the minute you get comfortable.
Uh-huh. It's tricky. You always got to touch it too, make sure it's not too hot.
Yes. Absolutely. I love it. Have you had any like mentors or specific folks throughout your career and your journey that really stand out to you?
Let me think. Honestly, a lot of my teachers, uh, like in high school and in college, but mainly my boss that I worked for. He's really artistic, and I've learned so much stuff from him, honestly. Yeah, he's kind of a perfectionist, but I mean, it kind of made me one, so I'm not
Right.
complaining.
Yeah, having perfectionist bosses are awesome and sometimes awful all at the same time.
But yeah, he's extremely talented.
Awesome.
So I just kind of was like a sponge, just absorbing everything I can from him.
Yeah. I mean, you seem to have been really successful thus far in your career. Like you've made a great place for yourself. Each place that you wind up at, you're excelling. You're comfortable making mistakes. You're doing big things. Do you have kind of like top tips or advice to younger people starting out on like what they should avoid or what they should do to help them be successful?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I guess the biggest thing that anyone could probably tell people is just not to give up. Like if it's something you're super passionate about, it's, like these types of skills, they take time, like, to perfect and stuff. And like you said, you're going to make mistakes. It happens. And that's the way you learn and that's how you get better. And once you start, keep doing it and stuff, you won't make as many mistakes. So I would just say, honestly, just keep with it. And if you love it, hey, keep rolling with it.
If you hadn't become a painter and a restoration tag, any ideas what you might have pursued instead? Were there other things you were considering?
Oh God. Uh, Honestly, no. I have no
Love it.
idea.
I love it. That means you're doing the right thing. That's great. I love it. Goals, aspirations. Do you have a project that you would love to work on one day? Do you have like a dream project or a dream like kind of point in your career that you'd love to see yourself at?
I definitely want to restore my own vehicle at one point.
And what do you have?
I don't have, I mean, my husband has kind of a hard on for first gen Cummin diesels, which we do need to work on. But I'm more of a old soul. I like the 57 Bel Airs, and
Okay.
I do want a Model A of my own personally. He
Nice.
doesn't really like them. But
I have to say it's probably a rare thing for people to say as a dream car as a Model A, but
I know.
I applaud that in you. A young woman saying that's awesome.
They're so cool.
I don't know that I would want one myself, but like
Really?
I don't know. It's not really my thing. But at the same time, like I'm a little bit of a whore. I'll work on anything. I just like working on the things. So I don't care. But
You're like, whatever it is.
a Model A and a Bel Air. Okay, but you don't have either of those right now.
No, not yet.
So we got to
Maybe
get you
one
into
day.
a project car. All right. All right. Awesome. I love it. After the baby can like walk and take care of herself a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. I love it. What else? Anything else we haven't touched on yet that I'm missing out on since I don't know your story very well? Are there like highlights of your career that I've missed
Oh,
over?
gosh. Honestly, not really. Not that I can think of.
I love it. So, let's see. I guess the main thing, well, here's a question. If your daughter wanted to go into this, would you be okay with it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well,
All right.
first of all, she's going to be in the garage with me and her dad all the time, so.
Nice.
Oh, I'm
What
going to
is,
teach her how to
what
do
does dad do?
everything. What'd you say? Sorry.
What does her dad do?
He is actually a heavy equipment mechanic. He
Oh, okay.
works at Carter Machinery.
Okay, awesome. So you've got the mechanical and the body and paint side. You got the whole
Yep.
total. You guys ever open a shop?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Do you have any interest in opening a shop?
I don't think so, to be honest. I think I just like doing side work. I don't know that I would want to, I don't know. I feel like, yeah.
That's how it starts.
I don't know if I would be able to run a shop, to be honest with you. I think I'd be too, like, into wanting to, I don't know.
You'd want to be back doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the challenge.
I was going to say, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Well, we're just gonna have to stay tuned to see what you wind up doing once your little one is a little more self-sufficient and doesn't need you. Is she gonna be your only one, you think, or do we not know yet?
I don't think she's gonna be the only one because my husband really wants a boy.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Fair enough. I love it. Very cool. All right. Well, our hour is coming to an end. So my final question, you already answered part of it with, like, you know, not giving up if this is really what you want to pursue. But I want to dig a little deeper in that. So not just for people starting out in the field, but just to the younger you, or to a little girl out there like you specifically who wants to grow up and do what you're doing and work in your field. What would you say to her? What is your advice to her?
Go for it, honestly. Being a woman doesn't really, personally, I don't think it has anything to do with how you can perform. I hate to say this, guys, don't get mad at me. Most of the time, we're a little more detail oriented than the guys. Just saying. So, I mean, I've met some kick-ass women, and we can do anything a guy can do. So just keep up with it, honestly.
Yep.
Don't let them try to discourage you, because most of the time, if they are, they're probably jealous of you. It's the truth. You know, brings you back to middle school.
Right? Seriously. Amen to that. Thank you. I know I'm toasting you, but you can't clearly.
It's okay. I got my water.
There you go. Your pregnancy safe water. I love it. Well, I for one cannot wait to see cute baby pictures once she joins us in this world. I hope everything goes smoothly and
Thank you.
You and baby are healthy and safe and fantastic. I'm so excited for you and your new family. And I'm excited to continue to watch your story unfold. And I believe, actually, I think I get to meet you in real life soon, don't I?
Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I feel like it would be nice to get back into things. So.
Yay! Oh, I'm so excited. That's going to be awesome. I'm glad. So we get to hang out and work on the build together, get your hands dirty a little bit again. And
Heck yeah.
Until then, be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of Bebe. And I appreciate you saying yes to hanging out with me. And folks at home, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us as well. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Genevieve and hearing her story a little bit. Make sure you follow. Actually, you can't really follow her along because she's on a private page, so you don't get to do that. But send her through the universe, through the interwebs, send her love and support, and cheer her on, and visualize everything going nice and smoothly with the baby and with the rest of her career. And we're going to come back next week, and we are going to meet another amazing tradeswoman. And until then, I want you guys all to take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Thank you so much for tuning in. Genevieve, thank you. And I will look forward to meeting you in real life soon.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Good night, guys. Mwah.